Hey, what's going on? I'm on a little midnight cruise right now. But I just want to, hit on a couple of topics real quick while I'm doing this. One of the main things I want to talk to today was about Michael Jordan and, kind of a statements that he made about, what happened to Floyd and, I guess the injustice of it, And I think this is probably the second time that he spoke out when it's come to something of this nature. And I don't know what other people's, thought process is on these particular things. But me personally, I think this is one of those situations where he should just be quiet and sit out of it. I don't think he should speak on matters like this. This is a man who, they could have used these types of statements when he was at his heights. This is a man who played through all the 80s, played through the 90s, when all kinds of things was going on when it comes to, let's say, violence and, towards his constituents, those who look like him. He was around when all kinds of injustice was going on that he knew about. He played in Chicago, where all kinds of high levels of corruption was going on. Look up the Rampart Division. They had Rampart divisions all over America. All kinds of crazy stuff was going on. No body cameras. People didn't have cell phones. So, people really had the freedoms to do a lot of really messed up stuff. He was around when they found out that, the government actually was the one that was, was actually helping flood the streets with narcotics, with crack, with cocaine. They're the ones who, when all of a sudden there's Uzis and all these military weapons, they're all over the streets. We find out that they're the ones who are doing that too. All that happened, and he was quiet. Never said anything. His whole focus was to keeping a certain image and keeping a certain brand. That's what he chose to do his entire career. You might not like a LeBron James, but all from the get-go, he spoke up. He's made statements, regardless of what might happen to, let's say, his popularity or to his career. He's always stood on what he believed. Always has done so, regardless of what you might think about him when it comes to into basketball. You look at people like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali could have sat back. He could have sat back, laid back, chilled, went ahead and, finished, had in the prime of his career. He could have had the prime of his career. He could have just put on that little military uniform, went out there. They wouldn't have had him fight. They would just have him do some boxing exhibitions, and they would have had him be an ambassador to the sport, to the military. He could have just did that. He still would have made all his money, just smiled there and, did his little shuffle and all of that stuff. He could have did that. But he didn't do that. He sacrificed everything. He sacrificed millions of dollars. He sacrificed the prime of his career. Came back really late. Took damage, a lot of damage in the later parts of his career. And we saw what happened to him. Physically what he looked like. But he put everything on the line for his people. Everything on the line. Was willing to lose everything and did lose everything because of what he believed in. Along with a lot of other athletes, even when it comes to basketball, people like Hakeem Olajuwon, who was there doing protests, who spoke his mind, who understood the injustices that was going on to those in his community, and he spoke up, risking a lot. But he did it because he believed in what was going on. He believed in what he was doing. He was willing to put everything on the line for his people. A lot of people have lost their lives putting everything on the line for their people. So for this man who's been quiet through all these decades, while people went through their pains and their misery, and he just caked up. For him to speak now was asinine. This is a man that owns shares in companies that build prisons. He's actually makes money off off what's actually systematically being set up and done to his own. He makes money off of it. So then it makes you wonder and think, like, why is he even speaking now? Why is he speaking now? He needs to remain silent. Keep on the same path you've been, you kept on your entire life. And just keep it moving. People like your shoes. They're going to buy your shoes regardless. They're going to buy your shoes regardless. Even with his shoes, when people are over here getting, killed over these shoes and all the other stuff or whatever. It's like, oh, well, I'm getting my check. All this man has ever cared his entire life has been about his image. This is a man who had a child out of wedlock and just kept that quiet the whole 20 years. Like, this kid don't even exist. Let's just keep him on the side over here. Let's, pay the money, whatever. We don't want the public. What is the public going to think about me? What will the public say about me? And people found out that I had this little side baby. So let's keep him over here quiet. Keep over here in this little closet. That's all this man, great basketball player. Probably one of, I don't believe he's the best. I believe he's one of the best to ever play. All the old timers from way back in the day to now, you ask them who's the greatest basketball they've ever seen, they say Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I mean? So, but besides the basketball, when it comes to social issues, this is a man that was mute when he was really needed. When he had that voice, when he was the most known person probably on earth besides Michael Jackson, the most popular person on earth besides Michael Jackson, he was in a space where he could have really helped make major changes in this country, probably this world, and especially in the state that he played in the city that he played in. He could have helped make drastic changes. He could have pushed those issues. He could have, with the power and the clout that he had, he could have done something. But he chose to remain silent. He chose to remain quiet. And what? Now because it's 2020, you feel a little bit safer to, push out a word here and there where you don't think it's going to affect you the way that it would have back in those days? What I say to that is, we don't need your words. Be quiet, stay in your corner, and keep doing what you've been doing for decades upon decades upon decades. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.